Audio check. Let me know if it's coming through clear. Log on to here. Hey, is my audio working? Audio check. Audio check. Bitchin'. Anywho, what's going on, guys? I usually like to do a live stream about once a month. Comments happen pretty quick, so if I don't answer yours, just leave another one. But I try to keep up on it. If you absolutely need to get something noticed, there's always super chat. But anyway, to the business at hand. Gun Panic 2020. This has been insane. And I know what you're thinking. You know, everyone's like, oh, the gun shop guys love the gun panics because they make a bunch of money. Yeah, we'll sell out our current inventory, but then you can't get any. So you really don't gain from a gun panic like you would think. Yes, if I could bring in inventory, or if I would have known this was going to happen and I would have taken out a loan for like $2.2 million and I could have just rake things in, that would have been a different story. But as far as like your mom and pop gun shop, they're not really going to notice a huge profit difference because they just sell out and then there's nothing left to sell. Oh, we got a super chat. Can I get a hell yeah? Hell yeah. So anyway, profits, yeah, there's a spike, but then they equal themselves out because there's nothing left to sell. I mean, we started off the Boogaflu gun panic, which was different because there was a whole bunch of people that were coming in that never bought firearms before, which I don't mind. I just take them to the range, let them test the stuff out, teach them a little bit about shooting, and then I get to sell them a firearm, which that lowered the supply a little bit, but there was still some stuff out there. I could still get some pistols and some rifles. But then the peaceful protests happened, or riots, and man, we are just cleaned out. We do have ammo coming in, but we're literally buying supplies from like PSA and just online stores just so it's there. Sweet Floyd, blah, 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 LOL, where is everything here in California? So yeah, hopefully things will come back around, but I think what's going to happen probably is we're going to hit election time. And there's always a gun panic during election time. It's probably going to be the middle or end of next year before supplies return back to normal. So if you're looking for something, just be patient, keep your eyes open, and when you see it pop up, you need to buy it. Like a tiger, just roar, jump on what you see and you buy it right away. It's kind of funny because on the second gun panic, because there's nothing really tactical left to buy, they'll be like, let me get a 9mm. I'm like, let me grab an AR-15. Like, oh, piss on it. Give me the 454 Kasu and the Mossberg 30-06. And so they're trying to get like these defense weapons and they're just not available. Let's check out the comments, see if there's anything going on yet. It's nice that you have a range to use by your shop. Yeah, it is really nice. Some of the people that would have come in, if I would have not have been able to take them to the range, I'm not saying I wouldn't have sold them a firearm. Maybe, I don't know, but some of them, it was just overly clear. They would have not have been safe to have one right out of the bat. I needed to take them to the range and let them shoot. And having that ability, because we have a spot we can shoot just a couple miles down the road, it made such a world of difference. Anybody where it was even questionable, like, okay, I'm not really sure if you're confident around firearms and or safe. We were having shoots every Sunday, and we'd have the customers come out, and then they could try different firearms, semi-autos, revolvers, rifles, stuff like that, and then get a feel for what they're looking for, and then buy it off of that. And that was really nice. Hold on, I got another super chat. Anybody wearing a mask in 72 Global Reason School, March 2020? Where are the dogs? I won't wear a mask. No, the mask wearing is basically done. Nobody even wears a mask anymore. I got another super chat. Silent Scope is my favorite viewer. Oh, duh. That's funny. Silent Scope is my favorite viewer. What's up, dog? But the mask thing is weird, too, because at first they were like, oh, you're wasting your time with the mask because the coronavirus micron is 10 times smaller than cigarette smoke, and these masks aren't even going to stop cigarette smoke, so what makes you think it would stop the coronavirus? Like, I get it if you're sick, and you know you're sick because then it'll catch some of your sneezes. Yeah, a bunch is still going to get out, but at least it will lower the amount getting out, so if you're not infecting everything around you. But then Mythbusters did this, they basically put like a dripper in their nose to simulate like if they had a runny nose and it was glow in the dark dye. And he was doing his best, or what I feel was his best, to prevent from spreading around. And they had him in a place not very long at all. And then they went over it with a black light and the whole thing just glowed. He was covered. Everything around him was covered. And there's not really much you can do. And it's crazy because they shut down all the smaller businesses in Wisconsin. Yeah, it depended on where you were. So, like in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, they were just straight up arresting people if they caught them outside their house. Now, where I was from, because at first we weren't protected. We were into the quarantine for 2 or 3 days before the governor was finally like, hey, or Trump was finally like, hey, gun shops are protected. So at first, we weren't supposed to be open, but we called our local sheriff right away, like, hey, we're not closing down. Are we going to have a problem? And he's like, because the police stations work differently here. It's not like in a city where people are just hired for a job. We elect a sheriff, and that a sheriff, when he gets elected, he can either get rid of all the existing deputies or he can keep those deputies. The point is, we elect a sheriff, so he's there because we told him to be there. So we called him up. We're like, hey, we're not closing down. Is there going to be a problem? He was like, look, I'm not going to go door to door and tell businesses to close. Most of the businesses around here, if they were closed for 30 days, they just simply wouldn't be opening back up. So we never actually shut down, and a lot of the businesses in our area didn't. I forget what the hell. Oh, yeah. But anyways, in Wisconsin, like Oshkosh, they were just straight up arresting people. And so they were shutting down all the smaller businesses and forcing everybody to congregate into Walmart, which I don't know why the hell they didn't shut down Walmart, because they would go to the smaller businesses that were actually essential. They were like, hey, if we catch more than 10 people in this establishment, we're going to fine you. And yet you go into Walmart and there's like a couple hundred people. And then they have everything corralled in, so everybody's got to be pushed up next to each other. So it was really strange. Everything they were doing made absolutely no sense. You think they would have left all the businesses open so people can spread out. A lot of the things people would normally get out of their town, out of their small grocery store or wherever, hardware store, what have you, now they don't have that option. So they were driving, for example, Portage or Stevens Point, if they would have shut us down, would have been the nearest place where you could have got gun supplies. So it was forcing everybody in our area to go to like Portage or Stevens Point. So it was making everybody travel. It was making everybody congregate in a small place. The quarantine was just the stupidest, backwards ass thing I have ever heard of. It was completely ridiculous, served absolutely no purpose, and I feel strongly made things much worse. Now you get into the argument, was the Booga flu actually even worth shutting things down for? Was it severe enough? Well, the data's starting to come in, and it's starting to look like no. Everything was just a bunch of hype. But we'll see. History will tell the truth, hopefully, unless they rewrite it to push a certain narrative. But we'll see. All right, back to the comments. It sucks that Walmart doesn't sell ammo anymore. I haven't actually been in to Walmart to buy anything in a while, so I have no idea. Thank God, because normally... All right, so my day starts off in the morning at about 3 a.m. I get up, drive truck, then I get to the store, do the store thing, then I go back out at night, then at 8 a.m. I get done doing everything, so then that puts me in Portage, and I come through, And normally I would be forced to stop at Walmart because they would be the only places that sell stuff. But a new business opened up right across the street that's all about us freedom-loving Americans. It still irritates me because they still bought into the Boogaflu thing and they shut down early. But anyway, we'll not get on that rant. But they sell ammo and stuff there now. So most of the stuff that I was forced to buy at Walmart, I don't have to anymore. I haven't been inside Walmart in quite some time, actually. Not since my girl swindled me into buying her a Ryan's World egg. Then I had to go in there because only Walmart sold it. And damn, that kid from Ryan's World must be a millionaire. All right, back to the comments. Where's a good one? Yes, girls are... Yeah, some girls that are nurses just say to me, kick off your shoes and relax. See, and that's the thing with the whole Boogaflu, too. There was so much conflicting information coming in, I just stopped believing everything. I believed what I seen in front of my face. Did I know anybody that was sick? Did I know anybody that died? Then I infiltrated some hospitals and talked to their staff. And it was funny, too, because their staff would be like, oh, no, it's just not bad in this area because of our location. But it's bad. You need to be careful. I'm like, but you haven't seen any deaths at all? I mean, with the population that the hospitals would have taken care of with the nurses I've talked to would have covered over 2 million people. And none of them had 0 deaths. They had a couple of sick people come in and a couple of people test positive. But what the numbers should have been, with the percentage that they had told us, they should have run into like, I don't know, a couple thousand dead and tens of thousands that were sick. So immediately I was like, okay, something's not right here. Now, Milwaukee, they were higher than the whole rest of the state combined. Now, are they reporting things funny? Are they doing something that's fatal to the patients? Or does Milwaukee, because that town starts with an M and it has a little bit thicker population density, which it really doesn't, because there are other places in the state that are pretty freaking populated. Why just Milwaukee? That is the only spot. I mean, was there an intentional spread there? Is there a bunch of elderly that live in Milwaukee that inflated the numbers? Because, like, literally without Milwaukee there, we would have had, like, 23 dead in the entire state. I'm not looking at the numbers, so I can't give you an exact, but... And then we got Milwaukee standing there, which is the outlier. They went into the hundreds where everybody else was in, like, 2-digit numbers. Like 10, 15. Madison's pretty large. I think they had, like, just something ridiculously low. So who knows? I mean, like I said, history will hopefully clear everything up for us. Everything about CV-19 was a lie from the very beginning. Yes, I believe so, but because of the fact that it came from a lab, it even scared me for a bit. Until I collected a little bit of my own data, I was like, holy crap, the Chinese dropped the fucking super flu on it. I hope I don't get demonetized. The Chinese just dropped the super bomb on us. History is already written. I hate Walmart. Yeah, forget Walmart. Walmart is one of the 50 places. I'm going to skip to the bottom, so I'm back on current comments. If you said something you wanted answered, just leave it again. All right, where were we? CRS Firearms, you have this, but if Corona kills 1 million people in the U.S. in 2020, the total death rate would be above 25%. I was never afraid of a cough and a cold. I wasn't either, because God gave me something called an immune system. Yeah, if I was elderly or something, then yeah. Now, see, the Swiss took a totally different approach. What they wanted was herd immunity. I believe that's what they called it. They did 0 quarantine. They were like, if you're sick, obviously stay at home because you don't feel well. If you're elderly and you could be fatal, obviously stay at home. But what we want is the general healthy population to be exposed to it so they have the antivirus inside their body so it can't wipe through our nation. So we do not want you to quarantine. We want you to shake people's hands. We want you to touch each other. We want to get something called herd immunity. that will make it so this can't just rip through our nation. I think they took the more right approach. I mean, like I said before, history will write the story, and we'll see what that says. I like pizza. Built my second legal, now my first AK. Love this country. Dude, what's up with your opinions on the Brady trigger? The binary trigger. The binary trigger, do not buy it. You can make it yourself for about $50. It just takes a little bit of ingenuity. The problem with the binary trigger is you can outrun your bolt carrier. What's going to happen is your hammer is going to follow your bolt closed, and then you're going to have a dead trigger. If you really like the concept of the binary trigger, get the echo trigger, because that's got a catch on there that will not let your hammer drop until your bolt is fully into battery. So then you'll never have a dead trigger. The binary trigger, you start really rapping on that, you're going to have a dead trigger. And then it's stupid. How is that an advantage? Unless it's strictly just a range toy. But if you want to build one, just send me a private message on like Instagram or something like that, and I'll walk you through it because it's really super simple to do. You just got to buy a 3-round burst kit, and then you take a couple of parts out of that, put a couple of parts back in, boom, you have a binary trigger that you spent like peanuts on, and they charge like $400 for it. And that's all they did is they took a 3-round burst kit and made triggers, and they're charging 4 times more than they have invested into it. CRS Firearms, did you ever find some solvent traps? Yes, there's actually quite a few American companies that are selling solvent traps. And I also learned, I was trying to say COVID-19 kills me. I also learned if you order one of those solvent traps from China and it gets intercepted, they will refund your money, no questions asked. So you can order as many of those as you want at zero risk, unless, of course, you live in a communist state or you're a felon. Then I probably wouldn't have anything mailed to your house. At zero risk, so you can just keep buying those China traps. Man, I can't talk. China solvent traps until one of them finally makes it through the mail. If it gets intercepted, you just message the company, they refund you your money, and then you buy it again. Sooner or later, one will make it through. Or you can just buy from different Chinese companies, so they're coming from different addresses. But that is pretty cool when I found out that, yes, they are refunding the money 100%. I may try calling customs one more time. I haven't decided if I'm going to or not because I don't want to really push my luck with them. Then try an infiltration tactic to see if I can't figure out what exactly they're looking for to release it. Hold on one second. We got a super chat. Oh, my request. Can you do a how to shoot gangster style on your next video and its accuracy? What exactly are you looking for? Are you looking like how to shoot gangster style accurately, or the accuracy testing on different gangster style shooting? Because yeah, I could definitely do that. Where are we? I'm gonna skip to the bottom again. If you asked the question, I missed it, just rewrite it, please. Thoughts on Polymer AR-15 lowers? Don't buy them. I've had very limited experience with Polymer receivers on AR-15s, and they've failed miserably. That doesn't mean that's the rule. I could have just got the exceptions because I don't have like massive amounts of experience. But Bushmaster, they used to make a Polymer upper. The rail just broke off, and then it was ATI. I don't know. It started with an A. They did a Polymer lower. It was like an A2 style, cracked right next to the buffer tube. Yeah, it would make your AR-15 lighter, but I just believe you're sacrificing a lot of strength. If you wind up having a Polymer AR-15 and you have a substantial amount of rounds through it, feel free to leave it in the comments that it does in fact work. Update on the SOT. Well, I sent out for it. It would have been like the beginning of this month, end of last month, something like that. But it's got a recharge date. I believe it's June 1st. Because it only lasts for 12 months. It don't matter when you get it. It automatically, it's done at a certain date. So I don't think I'm going to hear anything till after that date, which I believe is June 1st. But then, yes, I will have my SOT. I'm going to make some machine guns, sell some silencers. I think it's going to be pretty freaking awesome. Buy an aluminum one, update on the SOT. If the buffer tube blows off, Anderson is good enough, $50. I don't know. I don't know if this was live. How are you doing, CRS? I'm doing awesome. Thank you for asking. I'm in New York. Can you help me build a full auto muzzle loader? What do we got here? A video on a full auto Glock sear. They are very easy. I've never really had a lot of interest in full auto Glocks, so I don't know if I'll wind up doing one. Maybe. We'll see. If you had to choose one firearm, for any situation, what would you choose? I would choose the AR-15, probably in a 16-inch barrel with 62 grain ammo with A2 sights, because it's not special in any way, shape, or form, and it doesn't do anything really well, but it can do everything okay. I'm kind of going with like the middle of the road. Yeah, I could pick other firearms that will excel one way or the other, but then I'm giving up my middle ground because it pushes. If I want it to be really good at long range, I start giving up short range. I start giving up my ability to carry it because the weight's increasing. If I want something that's really good at short range, it's nice and light, but now I can't go long range. I can't go medium range. An AR-15 is a beautiful middle-of-the-road gun. It's easy to use, and the ammo is pretty plentiful. 40 rounds till failure. My opinion, AR-15 aluminum receiver. What is your opinion on 357 SIG versus 9 for self-defense? It doesn't really matter because it's not going above 2,200 feet per second. That's the magic number. That's where a pistol cartridge starts having a little bit more than crushing power and diameter. So if you're staying below 2,200 feet per second, it really doesn't matter. And a 357, that's a 9mm bullet, basically, from what I understand. A little bit faster, maybe I could get just a little bit more penetration, but a 9 has more than enough for a person. Am I going to take a 357 against the bear? Probably not. Because I'm not going to do that. 9, the ammunition's more available, so I'm going to go with 9 over 357 SIG. I have that same t-shirt. Do not buy the auto sear. Hell yes. Yeah, the Echo Trigger, $500. CRS Firearms. Where are you from? Oh, I got a super chat. Hello from Miami, Florida. Keep the videos coming. I will do that. Thank you for the super chat. Where am I from? Well, I'm originally actually from this very town. I was born 10 miles? No, a little bit farther than that. 15 miles down the road at the hospital. I stayed in this town till high school. Things got a little bit hairy then, so I started high school hopping. I went to like 5 different high schools my senior year. Then I kind of moved around Wisconsin for a while, and I went down to Illinois for a few years. Worked just outside of Chicago at I-55 Auto Salvage. Then I went to Minnesota. I worked at a machine shop there for quite some time, building farm equipment. And then ultimately started driving truck and came back to Wisconsin, and then we did the whole firearm shop thing. It's been a hell of a ride. Got another super chat. Gangster style, hold the gun flat. Hold the gun flat. Rise your arm up a bit and jerk the firearm forward each shot to see the style. Actually, like real gangster style, what I've personally seen is they go like this. Like they're giving the bullet extra velocity every time they shoot. They start up, like the muzzle pointed up, and go like that. And bam, 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 bam. But now the actual hold, I just seen a video from that Josh Livel. Josh Lovell. I don't remember his name. Some tactical instructor. But anyways, he was saying that shooting one-handed, start like you're going gangster style, and then just turn your wrist straight and lock your joints. But see, I use a Weaver when I hold anyway, so I'm just basically removing this hand. Would it be the same? Yeah, so I'm already doing that. Because there's the isosceles. You make a triangle, go straight out in front of you. That's typically where people default to when they're stressed because they're squared off with the target. Unless, of course, there's some super tier 1 operator. I have billions of rounds fired at me, and I fired billions of rounds in anger. Most people default to this. So that's typically why they teach that, the isosceles. But I like more accurate. So I use a Weaver stance. You almost kind of like use your shoulder as a headrest. Then you got your arm cocked like that. So that stuff that Josh Lovell, God, why can't I remember his name? I think it's Josh Lovell. Does, because he was saying go sideways and then just bring your wrist straight but keep your elbow. Well, that's what I'm already doing with the Weaver. So I guess it would just be like removing this hand. But whatever. Where are we here? Do a video on full auto Glock sears. Do you own any full auto submachine guns? No. And that would actually be, there'd be 2 full autos that I would want that I think would actually be effective. One, a submachine gun, a real submachine gun, like an MP5 SD. That would be one thing where I'd consider not having a shotgun for, is like an MP5 SD. But because I can't have an MP5 SD in full auto unless I do it as an SOT or I come up with some stupid amount of money for home defense, I'm going shotgun. But if I had the chance at an MP5 SD over a shotgun, that's where I'd be like, oh, I don't know what to pick. I don't know what to do here. Or a belt-fed machine gun. Other than that, I feel myself most rifles, most pistols are more effective as a semi-auto. Once you get full auto, they just don't work as well. I mean, yeah, they're a lot of fun, but they're just not as effective. Now, a submachine gun or a belt-fed machine gun, that's a bit of a different story. CRS firearms, what do you think about Kingstar reflex swipes and red dots? I don't know. When it comes to a red dot, I'd go aim point. I mean, you get a 7-year battery life. The shelf life on batteries is somewhere around 7 years. So once a year, you just change out your battery. And you leave it on all the time. That was the problem with the EO Tech is, you have to turn it on, then you have to turn it off. And if you turn it on one way, it stays on for 8 hours. If you turn it on the other way, it stays on for 4 hours. That sounds like a long time, but if you're in an ambush or, for me, I noticed it when I was hunting, it's really not. I'd pull up on a deer and my red dot would be off, so I'd go click it back on. It just, if I'm going red dot, it's got to be a dot that's on all the time. What's your email, please, for Brady instructions? It's M as in Matt, H as in Hoover, 355 as in Chevy 355, SC supercharged at yahoo.com. That's my personal email. That's if you want to talk to me personally. If you have a business inquirement, then you need to use my other email that I have in all my descriptions. Walk us through the issues you are having with keeping your store stocked. I can't find anything. And when I do find something, like if a customer wants to order something and I'm like, holy crap, they actually got it available. We're looking at 2 to 3 weeks shipping time. You know what? Here, I'll just give you an example. Let me pull up the distributor's website real quick so you can actually see what stocks look like. Sign into this bad boy. All right, so what we're going to do is we are going to search firearms. We're going to go rifles. We're going to go type of action, semi-automatic. Normally, there would be 920 options. Let that load up for a second. And we're going to go caliber 5.56, which would normally have 276 options. Now we're going to hide all out-of-stock items. So out of 276, there are literally 2 items that are available. I can't really see it. These are the only 2 items. We got one AR-15 that's painted like an American flag. My cost, without a markup, $2,500. Then we got the Kel-Tec bullpup. It's in green, comes with a 20-round magazine. It's the RDBS. My cost, with 0 markup. That's what the dealers are paying. We got $934. Those are the only 2 semi-automatic 223s that are available right now at this distributor. That's how bad things are. All right, so what do we got here? I'm going to jump back down to the bottom again because I fell behind. If you have a question, just re-ask it. RBD, P90 got someone needs to change their phone. Someone needs to change their phone. 5.7 is me. What's up, you goofy cheesehead? You're one of my favorite gun shows on YouTube just because you're simply honest. Thank you. Hell yes, I love my RDB. RDB. What the hell is that? Oh. But the price is what I paid for $960. Are 80% lowers still available? I don't actually know because I don't do business with 80% lowers. Is the 6.5 Grendel good for hunting or do I need bigger? No, it's perfectly fine. You only have to get enough penetration to get in the vitals. That's it. Once the bullet exits the other side of the animal, so if your projectile comes in and it stops, it's delivered 100% of the kinetic energy to your target. If it passes through, depending on the bullet design, it can take from 20, this isn't set in stone, but 20 to 80% of the kinetic energy it would have dumped in your target to the other side of the target. Ideally, you want your bullet to enter the target, pass through the vitals, and right before it exits out, like jam into the rib cage or something to stop inside the target. Now, if you do really poor shots and you just go, not really aiming at the deer, but if I hit it, awesome, because I'm not really aiming, then it makes sense for your bullet to pass through because then you have 2 holes that's bleeding out. So if you don't hit a vital organ, then maybe you only got to track it for like 10 miles instead of like 20. All right, dang, I got a 5.56 rifle to spare. What do we got here? Oh, super chat. Just showing some support. Thank you. Your channel is the week. Your channel the week. And I have enjoyed the content plus the law advice. Yeah, it's very critical. I always make it clear that I'm not a lawyer because otherwise I just get tore up usually in the comment sections from people saying, well, you're not a lawyer. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not. I don't have CRS legal right there. Like your stuff. Keep it up. Thank you. And thanks. I really do appreciate the super chats. I got a Yugo M57 Tukurva. Are those available anywhere? I believe they are. Some of those weird Russian ones are available, but I've even seen the price go up because typically when I'm gauging what a firearm's value is, I go on Gunbroker, I look what the auctions ended at, not what people are asking for, what people are actually paying. And a guy had just brought in some Russian guns 2 weeks ago, week ago, something like that. I'm like, oh, those are like probably $200 guns. I go on Gunbroker and some of them are up to like $400. I'm like, So yeah, prices of everything, and I mean everything, have just been going up and up and up and up. Do you have a lower receiver in stock? No, we don't. Caltech RBD CRS. Thanks for the legal advice. I'm going to skip back down to the bottom again. If you asked the question, I didn't get to it, just re-ask it. RDB is Caltech. FN has brand markups. FN has brand markup. Not sure what you're asking. Are you a believer of M1 carbine as a... Yeah, it shoots projectiles. It's basically a glorified pistol projectile, but still an M1 carbine, why not? It works. If you got one you haven't verified that works, or for some reason it doesn't work, then no, it wouldn't be a viable self-defense rifle. But if it works, it works. 223 steel case. Steel case 223. It's not the casing that's the problem when it comes to steel case. It's the bimetal bullet. You got to remember, the bullet is steel with just a copper paint job. Unless you're shooting a Glock that has practically zero rifling, that steel is going to cut out your rifling. It's pretty quick, actually. I figured out the percentage. But basically, your barrel should be dead in like 6,000 rounds. So that's like 1% barrel life lost every 2 magazines. That's a choice you have to make. Obviously, the money you'll save on the steel case will buy you a brand new barrel. Can you get a brand new barrel right now? I mean, do you have an extra barrel? And then that's on a chrome line barrel that you're losing about 1% every 2 magazines. Now you go to like a melanite barrel, it's going to be increased. It's your choice. You got to decide on steel. Thoughts on a new old stock SKS? They're great rifles. I mean, especially if you're in a state where you can't have a detachable magazine, go SKS. From what I understand, you got to be careful with cleaning them, though. Apparently, if you put them together wrong, I just learned about this, it basically bump fires. So you'll rattle off a burst of fire if it's been assembled wrong. So make sure to put it together right. Do you know the issues on the Springfield Saint feeding issues? I'm not familiar with that rifle. Like, it came out, and I looked up the specs, and it doesn't have a chrome line barrel, and the specs kind of line up with, like, say, a Delton 316M. So for me, at least, there was no reason to buy a Saint. Now, if you have one, I'm not saying it's a junk rifle. I'm saying I don't have experience with it because it wasn't appealing to me. There was nothing that made me want to bring it into the store, and the price that we're selling them at, I just never messed around with them. You are one of the few patriots on YouTube down with government. Good thing I just bought. Also reliable 30-round magazines and barrel. What kind of belt do you use if you carry or shoot with a holster? I just got my normal, I think it's a Fossil belt. It's a leather belt I've had for a long time, but it's a quality belt, so it lasts. Thoughts on Ruger 5.56? The AR 5.56, it works just fine. They got some proprietary parts on there, and I kind of feel like they're charging a bit much if they're not offering a chrome line barrel, so I didn't buy one. If you own one, though, it should be fine. I mean, Ruger's typically pretty good about what they put out, unless it comes to semi-automatic pistols. Then it seems to be kind of hit or miss. Thank you for your reply. Guts and Gull. Thumbs up. What do you think of the 223 Wild? Ever hear of it? Now, with 5.56, 223, and 223 Wild, things get wishy-washy. So now, from the best of my understanding, what we're talking about is the amount of free bore. I need a demonstration. So your bullet goes into the chamber. A little bit ahead is where the rifling comes. Your primer's going to hit. Your bullet's going to move up to that rifling. It's going to pressurize the case because gunpowder burns differently under pressure. Once it hits a certain pressure, the gunpowder flash ignites. Your projectile moves down. With your NATO 5.56 chambering, they add extra free bore in there because they have that super special tracer round, which is the whole reason why they have a 1 in 7 twist barrel, because it's really, really long. So the bullet actually sits like way back in the case because it's so long. So your primer would hit, your bullet would slide forward, and you need that extra rifling in there to relieve some of the pressure. I don't fully understand this. Maybe it needs to go forward to have the right taper of the case pushing on the right spot of the back of the bullet. Anywho, with the 5.56 chambering, you're supposed to have more free bore so that tracer bullet can move up farther. With a 2.23, they're not compensating for that tracer bullet. They don't even have usually the right rifling to handle that tracer bullet because it's so long and so light. You need a 1 in 7 twist rifling to be able to stabilize it. So they don't account for as much free bore. The wild is supposed to be somewhere in between where you could still shoot any 2.23 cartridge without having to worry about overpressure, but you don't have so much free bore that the bullet's got to come so far out of the case to where you're sacrificing accuracy. Because with all that free bore, especially like on my Bushmaster, there's too much free bore on there for me to shoot 55. What's happening is my bullet's coming completely out of the case, or at least far enough to where I'm getting into the boat tail to where my Bushmaster just does not shoot 55 because there's too much free bore. The wild is supposed to take up the difference. You're supposed to maintain accuracy without having to worry about pressure problems. With all that being said, when gunsmiths actually go and measure the free bore, they vary drastically. There's no set stone on how much free bore it's going to have. There's some 2.23 barrels which have more free bore than 5.56. There's some 5.56. It's all on the person cutting the free bore that particular day. The person running the chamber reamer. Is a tool wore out? How new is the tool? So it's the best rule of thumb is if your barrel says 2.23 only, run 2.23 ammunition. Will you probably get away with 5.56? Oh, yeah. Are you going to be covered in a legal lawsuit if you don't get away with it? Probably not, because they'll be, dude, it says 2.23 stamped right on the barrel. But that's where it really becomes an issue is those tracer rounds. Typically, if you just remove those from the equation, you're good to go. But again, there's no rules of thumb. There was some website I went on, and they just started pulling random barrels and measuring it. Their specs were all over the place. There was 2.23 that was 5.56 spec. There was 5.56 chambers, like from reputable manufacturers that were cut to 2.23. It gets weird. All right, where are we? I'm going to skip to the bottom again because I fell way behind. So just re-ask your questions if I didn't answer it. Where are we? Sup, everybody. Smash that thumbs up. We need to get you set up readers or need person. I says this person who wears glasses. Oh, I got glasses, but glasses are for losers, so I won't wear them. Just kidding. I wear them when I shoot, but yeah, I can't see shit. The AK is the superior rifle. Prove me wrong. God, I want to bite on that comment. Especially if you're talking about an AK-47. Yeah, I'm not a fan. The cartridge is terrible. The rifle sucks. If you want to change out a part, you need a fully furnished machine shop. You can't just like push pins. Oh, what do you think of Bravo Company bolt carriers? I've heard they were good. I've never owned one myself. I've had a Bravo Company gas block. and that seemed good. I got that particular one because it was actually made out of steel, and everyone else's was made out of aluminum. Are manufacturers ramping up production? Probably not. A manufacturer likes to be able to make something and have it sell right away. Yeah, they could increase it. All right, so we got the ability to sell the product right away and the ability to fill the market. The Scar 17 is the perfect example. They ramped up production on the Scar 17 because it was so popular. It hit a point to where there was just Scar 17s laying everywhere. And then the price started coming down, coming down, coming down, coming down. So they stopped making Scar 17s. They brought the demand up. The price on the Scar 17 started going back up and up and up and up. You need to keep the demand higher than the availability. This would be the perfect meeting spot where you, as fast as you can make them, they sell, but people aren't being left without product that actually want the product, because if you're not giving people the product they want, you're kind of failing. So if they ramped up production and things leveled out for even a little bit, now you got a surplus of rifles. The only choice at this point is to bring the price down and make it more desirable. Do I think they're ramping up production? Maybe a little, but they're not going to. The way things are right now is absolutely perfect for manufacturers. No matter how fast they make the product, it's sold instantly. Give me a NATO chambering. Where is the whiteboard of death? BCG, good to go. Love your videos, HK. Oh, well. Your what? Green tip or Black Hills 77 grain 5.56. I'm not a fan of 77 grain 5.56 unless I'm punching paper. Because your green tip and your 55 grain, that will take you to 300 yards without a problem. The 77 grain does not get an advantage until past, I believe it's 300 yards. That's where it starts getting an advantage over 5.56, 55, and 62 grain. So why would I make my rifle have an advantage past 300 yards unless, one, I'm shooting at like prairie dogs or I'm shooting at paper? Because if I know I'm making a rifle specifically for shooting past 300 yards, unless it's something where, well, my Scar is 8 pounds flat, I see no reason to go with 77 grain, because if I'm specifically making a rifle that shoots past 300 yards, well, we got 6.5 Grendel, excellent option, because that'll take you out to 400 yards. Yeah, it obviously can shoot a lot farther, but to where it's really got power, because then at that point it drops below 2,200 feet per second. Or I'm going to go with a 308. I mean, why not? So I don't have a place for 77 grain. Now, if I was shooting competition, long range, where my targets, where kinetic energy don't matter, I'm just punching a hole in a paper, or I'm shooting prairie dogs, then yeah, 77 grain makes sense. But for everything else, the 55 and 62 rule until about 300 yards, which I'm not looking at the data right now, so don't quote me on this. I didn't look at it ahead of time. This is a surprise question. But I'm pretty sure it's like 300 yards or farther. Maybe it's 250. I don't remember, but that's when 77 grain takes the advantage over 55 and 62. Past 300 yards, I'm going to switch rifles. I see no reason to stick with a 5.56 if I know for sure I'm shooting past 300 yards. So I wouldn't make a rifle designed specifically for shooting to having an advantage past 300 yards, because I just wouldn't run that. Oh, where are we? I'm skipping to the bottom again. If I missed your question, I apologize. Just re-answer it. Oh, what is your bug out loadout in a scenario for M16, trench wench, or both? You are protect yourself with your Hawaiian shirt. I can't bug out, man. I got a family. A screaming baby, a daughter, a girl. I got to bug in. Now, if, like, say they hit my house with a Molotov cocktail and I had to leave, I just grab my bushy and like 4 or 5 mags. I honestly cannot afford to carry any more weight. It's just not a possibility. If I have to leave, it's to go to another location where there's already guns and ammo, which I've already kind of plotted it out, so there's a bunch of them. But anyway, like just like bugging out, it's just not a possibility. I can't do it. I need to be able to just get to another location like 4 or 5 miles down the road, and then if that one goes south, another 4 or 5 miles down the road, and then just hopping along until probably I hit Canada or Illinois, depending on which direction I go in, how things are set up. But yeah, seriously, maybe a pistol in my bushy and like probably 4 or 5 mags. Any more than that, I'd be carrying so much weight I'd get us killed. Because you got to be ninja style. You got to move fast. You got to be able to go. And that's just not going to happen with a Alice pack on and an 820 round can and a bunch of food. It's just not feasible for me. Now, if I was by myself, yeah, I'd be looking at a totally different setup. But I'm not. I got my girl, 2 daughters. One of them's a newborn. Yeah, bugging out's just not going to happen. Oh, where are we? Best AR for under $1,000. I used to be able to like, it's the Bushmaster A2 because it's a complete system. It's under $1,000 and it's built to quality specs. But they got sued out of business. So now your best bet is probably it'd be a toss-up between a PSA premium rifle with an FN barrel or a Wyndham weaponry. You'd have to shop around, see who's running a deal. Just don't accidentally buy the PSA with the crap barrel. And make sure, because a lot of people are having problems with the... I wish I should have brought any already. So you got your barrel extension on the barrel, and then there's a little slot in the receiver. If it doesn't line up perfectly, it'll chew up your bolt carrier. A few PSA rifles have not been lined up correctly, and they're breaking bolt carriers. So keep an eye out for that. As long as you pass that, you're good to go. Got any thoughts on a fail or a G3 platform? Oh, boy. I've only held one fail. It was an old one. It was made by Century Arms a long time ago. It seemed to be okay, but there's a bunch of different companies that made one. I think Springfield had made one for a while. Now they got some imported ones. The G3s I've had contact with, they've all come from Century Arms. I have held a PTR one. I don't want to shit all over it, but damn. The ones I've come in contact with were not pretty. They were in rough shape. One of the stocks would telescope, and remember that's a non-telescoping stock. The internals just all rotted to shit. I had to mortar it against the ground to get the bolt carrier to break loose. I mean, if you're going to drop that much money, I don't know. I'm just going to leave this one alone. You'll have to decide for yourself. Basically, I'm getting at I wouldn't pick either of those 2 rifles. If I had to pick one, I'd probably lean towards fail. But again, they're just not that... If you have one for a while, you've had it set up, everything's working great, good. Where a G3 you could pick up and just run because that's a blowback, but is it actually going to run? I wish Century Arms just didn't exist. Question, do you need an adjustable gas block to shoot an AR-15 with a silencer? No. If you have problems, then start looking at an adjustable gas block, but you should just be able to screw a silencer right on the end and it'll function. Maybe with shorter barrels, because I've never shot anything shorter than a carbine, you might run into problems. But the little bit of silencer experience I've had, I've always just screwed them on the end of the barrel and it's good to go. What's your thoughts on Spike Tactical? I've only had mild exposure with them, but it's all been positive. How do you get an AR9? How do you get an AR9? Do you mean like an AR-15 and 9 mil? There's some companies that make it. You just find a company that makes it and you go. Super chat. Thanks for being a commie stomp. Thanks for being commie swampback. I bought a new Maverick 88 after watching your video, and it shoots a foot high at 10 yards. Is it the short barrel? No, it's probably how you're looking at your bead sight. That's the one advantage ghost ring sights have. If you're unfamiliar with shotguns, you have someone zero for it, and you're good to go. All right, I'll get to your super chat in just a second. With a bead sight, don't know if I can get this on there. All right, so the amount of exposure of your front bead is your elevation. So say I'm shooting at 100 yards. There's got to be a way I can demonstrate this. All right, so say I'm shooting. We'll pretend this is the bead. The base of the bead will be the base of this class. So say I'm shooting at something far, like 150 yards, something like that. I put my bead right at the bottom of the receiver right there. And that gives me my elevation. If I'm shooting at something close, I bring it up so I'm covering more of my bead. The more of your bead you cover, the lower it's going to shoot. So with a snapshot at something really close, like a human-sized silhouette, I don't even dick around with it. I get a full bead. I almost kind of look over top because it doesn't matter. I'm just going center chest. If I want to hit something really small, kind of far away, I'm just going to be exposing a little bit of the bead, and then it'll be dead on. And as the range increases, I expose more and more of the bead, and that gives me more and more elevation. So if you're shooting high, just expose less of your bead, if that makes any sense. All right, other super chat. I've learned so much watching your videos. I've learned so much watching your channel. Thank you. Well, thank you. I really appreciate the super chat, too. Did that answer your question on the shotgun? Where am I? I'm going to skip down to the bottom. If I didn't answer your question on the shotgun, just re-ask it. And I apologize if you've already asked the question. Just re-ask it because I fell way behind. And it's always important to stay up with the comments because otherwise you're answering comments for people that aren't even in the anymore. All right, what do you think about Diamondback? I unfortunately never had an experience. I haven't had any experience with the Diamondback ARs yet, so I don't know if they're good or bad. They look great. The price is definitely appealing. I'd be willing to give them a try if they ever come back in stock, but I just haven't had an opportunity to give them a go yet. Oh, you're one of them vapors? Yeah, I actually smoked cigarettes since I was 8 years old. I quit probably, well, when I found out my girl was pregnant with my daughter, because I know if the parents smoke, the children are likely to smoke. So I went to vaping, and I started off at a nick of 24, which didn't feel like enough because I went from Newports. And now I'm all the way down to 3. Hopefully I'm going to be 0 soon, and then I'm just giving it up altogether. Hope this helps pay some vape juice, man. You either entirely need it, just wondering what flavor you like. Something that doesn't really have a flavor because I went from cigarettes to vaping. I usually go with some natural fruit like a strawberry or something like that, but it's got to be really weak. If it's got any sort of fruity flavor or any kind of real flavor to it, I can't stand it and it just drives me nuts. Wish I could subscribe twice as I pull off my vape. Cough, cough. Yeah, that was another reason why I had to give up smoking. I had a extremely bad smoker cough. It seemed to be lightening up over the years, but it's still there. When I talk for long periods of time without drinking water, like I can already feel my throat getting scratchy and dry, like I need to cough again. You had a Why do you like the Chapa? Why don't you like the Chapa 1710? It's not that I don't like it. You're really getting what you pay for. And that's a really, really cheap handgun. I really like your videos. And I really like you and your videos. Thank you. Thoughts on G3C? I enjoy your videos on the G2C. I haven't had a chance to hold the G3 set. The G3. God, I can't say it. The G3C yet. But I have got to hold the G3S, which is a single stack version of the G2C. It's not skinny enough for a single stack. They need to redesign that. The G3C, I think that one's supposed to be in a different caliber. I'm not sure. CRS, CRS Firearms, think about the shotgun answer. You answered it. I was saying thanks for bringing back the Kamistam. All right, I'm back at the bottom again. Try coffee flavored vape juice. Oh, I can't stand coffee. Somebody fed me coffee ice cream once, and I almost wanted to punch him in the face. I hate coffee, everything about coffee. Vaping stopped my mother from smoking in one day and cut me by a third. S&W MNP 15. They're built quality, and they seem to run quality control. You are not getting a chrome line barrel, but most people don't want that anyway. You're not getting an M16 bolt carrier, but most people don't care about that anyway. I believe you're getting a high shelf lower receiver, but most people don't care about that anyway. But when they come through the store, we've had a lot of them come through, and there hasn't been any like serious manufacturer blems, which is pretty impressive because all manufacturers put out crap from time to time. It's just the way the world works. Their quality control is good enough to where I haven't seen any yet from them. What do you think about Delton AR-15s? Excellent for the money. Sega 12, worth it? Looking at an unconverted Sega 12, worth it? If you're going to convert it, I mean, man, I don't know. If you know what you're doing around AK style platforms, yes, I'd go Sega 12. Not me personally, but I'm saying, like, yes, you should go get it because it's cool. But from what I understand, they got to be tuned. Even when I shot competition for a little bit, the people that were there with Sega 12s, they usually didn't run, or the dude was like, hey, I put like $3,000 into this to make it run as good as it does. That may not be the rule. That may be the exception. I don't know. But most people I've seen with Sega 12s, they had issues and they were fixed, or they still have issues. What's up, Pumpkin? Thoughts on the ATF arm brace? I hope they don't take that away, because that would probably change a lot of things. And who knows if they're going to be like, oh, you can't just hold it this way anymore, or if they're just going to be like, any AR-15 with shorter than a 16-inch barrel is an SBR. I don't care if you have an arm brace on there or not. Who knows which way it's going to go. I'd like to pretend that nothing's going to happen, but usually if I hear a rumor about something like that, it comes true. So we'll see. What's your thoughts on the Ruger 1911? They're built really nice. I've only had experience with a couple of them, but yeah, they were just quality. Love my Diamondback. Do you think they should make more? Do you think they should make more new 7.62 by 25 caliber? .762 by 25. Not modern options. Because it don't really matter. Like, once upon a time, we thought that just adding a little bit to pistol calibers would make them somehow better than the curve or somehow do something special. But then we learned that 2,200 feet, that's the cutoff. So basically, semi-autos, it doesn't really matter. They're all below 2,200 feet per second, so they're all pretty much the same. And because the 7.62 by 25, you might as well just go 9. G3C, just the next generation 9. Do you like the CZ75? Thoughts on it? I like the CZ75. Now, I don't like some of the other CZs that are just going off the name CZ. But yeah, the CZ75 is pretty cool. Even the Phantom, the cheaper version, which is like $500 instead of like 12, and you get a polymer receiver. I even really like that one. It seemed to be put together nice. It had a vintage feel about it. I really liked it. Skipping to the bottom again, so if I missed your comment, just re-ask it. Thoughts on 6mm AC ARC? 6mm ARC. I don't have any experience in it. Also, magazine-fed shotguns. Magazine shotguns. As someone who toyed around with them for 15 years now they just are a plane. You can top off. The magazine are huge. Rock Island Armory, 1911. I did have some shooting time on a Rock Island Armory 1911. It had feeding issues, but we polished out the barrel and it seemed to be working just fine. And they're affordable. I mean, we're talking about a 1911. Some people carry them, which, hey man, have at it. I believe there's better options, especially if you want to go semi-automatic. So, how to word it? For me, in 1911, it's more of a range toy. That's my personal feelings on it. So if I got one, it would have to be affordable, or it would have to be just a straight-up custom competition job. Rock Island Armory hits affordable. If you can do minor work to make it run, or it already runs, why not? Plus, they look cool. Where are we? Oh, here we go. Do you know a company that converts Sega 12s? Do you know a company that Sega 762? Do I know a company that converts Segas? I'm assuming the pistol grip in that. No, I don't. It's not hard though. You can just do it at home, and then you'll feel accomplished by the work you put into it. 805 Bren. Tried out the new Bren 2, and I don't like it as much as I need a new barrel. Does anyone have any source? Do you hear anything about the SIG tiers? And if so, what do you think about it? Thank you for getting. LOL. High school sweetheart. LOL. High school sweetheart. There are guns for sale everywhere online. Yes, but if I buy a gun online and put it into the store, nobody's going to buy it because it doesn't make any sense. They could just buy it themselves offline. I need my distributors to have them. Then I can put them in the store. By all means, buy them offline. But you got to understand, they're typically like $200 or $300 more expensive than I can buy it for. So I'd have to buy it offline at $200 or $300 higher than normal, put it in the store, and still make a profit off of it to keep the lights on. All the cool ones anyway. I got a mil-spec Springfield 1911. I heard those are really nice too, the Springfield 1911s. and a co-op. What did you get? ACR has huge, nice long barrel. If you don't want a refurbished 1911, skip the 1911 and buy a SIG P220. Your opinion on AK-47s? My opinion on AK-47s, I will have a nice one on the wall next to like an M1 Garand and M14. They could double up as a combat rifle, but I believe there's better choices out there. It would not be my first pick for a combat rifle. Your channel 2 weeks ago. I discovered your channel 2 weeks ago. I've watched a lot of your videos. Thanks for all the work you do. Love the live stuff. Where can I, with you? Thanks, man. You're awesome. Where can I interact? If you're talking about like where can you see, we got the store and stuff, that would be our Facebook page. We are going to buy a website at some point, but what can I say? We procrastinate. But yeah, just Facebook, Coloma Resale. Or if you want to talk to me directly, there's always Facebook, CRS Firearms, or I also do some direct messages on Instagram. Do you like the Heckler and Koch? If so, what's your favorite firearm from them? Yeah, I played Metal Gear Solid, so I have this unhealthy infatuation with the Mark 23 and the PSG-1. Yeah, PSG-1. Will I ever own a PSG-1? Probably not. They are insanely expensive. Like, ridiculously expensive. I might make a clone off of a G3, but I'll never buy a PSG-1. Mark 23, I might get that someday. Holy shitballs, it's almost 11. All right, we're going to wrap this up. I'm going to skip to the bottom again, ask your final questions. Colorado, they make all the parts in-house. Where are we? Hey, what's up? What's your thoughts on H I Revolvers? Have I had one of those in there yet? I don't know. I'll have to check. What is better Diamondback or Bushmaster? Oh, Bushmaster for sure, but you're going to pay a little bit more. You just get better parts. What brace do you think they are trying to ban? I think they're just trying to say that if my guess, because it's supposed to be all secret and blah, 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 it wouldn't make sense to go after a specific brace or be like, hey, you can't shoulder it anymore. I suspect what they're going to try to do is just be like, it's an AR-15 and it's got shorter than, a 16-inch barrel. It's an SBR. I don't care if there's a brace on there or not. I may be totally wrong, but that's what makes sense in my head. Is they'll just be like, you can't make a rifle a pistol, or they'll put some sort of ridiculous restrictions on how a pistol's classified. Who knows? They're ridiculous. Are you going to vote for Trump? So if they ban the brace, should I go ahead and get a stock on my pistol? That's a choice you got to make. Your channel is awesome. Opinions on the Walther PX Decreed. They work. I mean, it's a Walther. Favorite Glock. I kind of like those little single stack ones, the 380s. 19, obviously. Bro, where do you get the cool knives you are using on your whiteboard? They literally come in. People buy all types of crap, and then they go in storage units, and they eventually make their way into the store. Where are those American daughters or Derringers? Sell extra ARs and ammo now, or hold on to them. Sell extra ARs and ammo now and hold on. If you seriously want to make some money, yeah. If you have extra AR-15s and some ammunition, most definitely. I mean, if things got real anyway, you can only carry one rifle. You might as well make a profit. Especially if you got one you don't really like, but you're just hanging on to it because it's an AR-15. I suspect things will turn around, but it'll probably be like the middle or the end of next year before. Because right now people are panicking. They're buying stuff. There's going to be a bunch of people that couldn't buy stuff because it wasn't available. So then they'll still be wanting to buy stuff when things go around. Plus, we've got election coming up. It'll probably be like a year from now, maybe a year and 6 months before things start coming back to normal, as long as 2021 isn't worse than 2020. But now is an excellent time to make a little bit of extra cash from an extra AR-15 you don't really like. Okay, how about stock Gen 5 Glock sights? I want to replace them. Any suggestions? Trijicon always makes great sights. Once upon a time, I used to buy firearms and just mod them out. Now, if there's something about a firearm I don't like, sights, whatever, I'll just buy something different. But I'd practice a bunch on your factory Glock sights, just so you're good with them, just in case you ever have to pick one up. That's probably the sights they're going to have on it. Then after you master those, then if you want, switch the sights. Do more live streams where I can. Possible good content. Do you answer messages on Patreon? Yeah, all of them. They get priority. I mean, they're literally giving me money. So Patreon messages always get priority. Because they want to support me directly, then yeah, they're most definitely going to get a reply right away. Patreon notifications, though, are weird. So getting a notification that someone actually messaged me on Patreon, they send me an email. I try to check my email as much as possible, but so I'm trying to hold a live conversation on Patreon is impossible. But yes, as soon as I notice there's a message, it gets answered instantly. I don't want to do more live streams because I feel like you burn the audience out. I try to do like one once a month. Oh, is it just... I don't know how to explain it. There's channels that like always do live streams and I can't get into them, so I don't. Favorite beer? I pretty much gave up getting shit-faced like a while ago. So when I do drink, it's like with my steak. So when I want a dry alcohol to highlight the flavor of the steak, so I do a salted Corona. Springfield Armory Saint rifle once a week. Making machine guns. But all right, I'm going to wrap it up. I appreciate you guys coming on to my live chat. It's really kind of cool. Thank you for all the super chats. That was really awesome too. You folks have an awesome night.